Welcome to Waste Not Wednesday with the Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art. This week we're going to be using some very common household supplies to make some beautiful marbled paper. This marbled paper can stand alone as an abstract piece of art, or after this dries, we can use it as a background for some printmaking techniques. For the first round of marbled paper, the one that ends up looking like this, you're going to need some shaving cream. And a few different things can work to create the design. So a plastic fork, a toothpick, or a wooden skewer. And then you'll need to scrape the shaving cream off of the paper. So I used an old health insurance card or just an old credit card laying around the house. You'll need 2 baking sheets or some sort of tray. And it's helpful to have a bowl of water to wash stuff off, some paper towels, or a wet rag. And then the last thing that you'll need is some food coloring. Depending on what colors you want on your paper, you really only need 2 to create more than 2 colors, but you want to make sure that they're going to mix into a pretty color and not just turn brown. So a little color theory here. If you're mixing red and yellow, you're going to get orange. If you are mixing red and blue, you'll end up with purple. If you mix blue with yellow, you're going to end up with green. Usually the set comes with a green, so that's going to give you just that more vibrant green versus a little bit more of a muted color that you're mixing with a yellow and blue. If you end up mixing all 3 colors, it's going to turn into a neutral. These 3 primary colors, when mixed, will end up being a brown or a brownish gray. So that's how you end up with that muddy look at the end. The next technique to make a marbled or speckled type of paper doesn't actually take very many supplies, but you do need one art supply in your house, and that would be chalk pastels. If you don't have chalk pastels and you have sidewalk chalk, that would work also. The colors just won't be as vibrant. So all you need for that are the chalk pastels, a butter knife or just a plastic knife, and then a container full of water, and of course the paper. So I'll be the first to admit that this isn't exactly the cleanest project, but at the same time, the mess that you're making is actually fairly clean because it's something that just rinses away with water very easily. I'm just gonna take these trays and my bowl where I was dipping my tools in to clean them off in between, right to the laundry tub, just rinse with water and you're done. As far as the results go, this time I started with yellow and red, and I'm pretty happy with those results as well. They did mix into orange nicely. And then eventually, once that orange was just a nice solid color, I was able to add another color where I took the green over top of it. And although green and orange could potentially make brown because the green was so much stronger than the orange because it was very pale by then, it ended up with some really nice results as well. So experiment, keep going with whatever colors you have. And honestly, I could do this forever and just keep getting more and more results. So I have a lot of background paper now. I'm gonna have to decide which ones I want to save as just the abstract art, which ones I plan on using for printmaking, and we will be back with printmaking after this. Next up is printmaking, and in order to do that, you need a surface to print on. So you can use plain paper or the paper that we've marbled or created that chalk speckled effect is great for that. And I've chosen the more muted ones as background sheets for the printmaking, where I'm keeping the ones that are a little bit more pronounced and bright for just display or maybe a card, because I think they're really pretty on their own. And in order to print something, it's essentially you're making a stamp. So it will be a reverse image of whatever it is. So if you write a word, it has to be backwards and it will look like the reflection. A few different materials you could use. I cut out sections of a styrofoam takeout container, an eraser. There are numerous toys or anything with texture, so I brought down a few Legos, even a couple Matchbox cars, or like a monster truck, and food. Here's a piece of celery. I thought that would make a cute rainbow or smile. And then don't forget those toilet paper tubes that everybody was panicked over. I'm sure we've used plenty now, that I've bent it into the shape of a heart, or we could have circular stamps. So for this, you need any surface that you think could create texture or that you can draw into, like the styrofoam. I have an old stamp pad that we're gonna give a try. And then some of the things would work a little better if they have paint. So if you do have paint, you'll need a tray of some sort so you can put the paint on it. And I do understand not everybody is going to have something like this. This is called a brayer, and it rolls out the paint so it's nice and thin. So if you don't have that, we're going to give a can a try. So here's a good old can of LaCroix to be able to try to roll that paint out thin, and we'll see how that all works. because we're not using professional printmaking supplies, it ended up being just a lot of experimentation and fun to just be a little more free with my art. And so whenever I was creating the styrofoam takeout container design, I liked how it repeated the pattern, and whenever I printed it multiple times together, it looks like it connects a bit. So that one was a fun one to do, and I like using any type of print for cards, because then you can create multiple designs over and over in a short amount of time. But another one that I thought was a lot of fun was actually the monster truck, and it just created a pattern across the paper. And I think a lot of kids might just have fun using the car to create art just because it's a toy. This one, another toy, Legos as a frame, and then the toilet paper roll was bent into the heart, so I was able to make multiple hearts. And I realized that these are not considered fine art, but they were fun to make, and it's something to just try that might be different than the normal art making that you're used to doing. So I hope you have fun with it, and we'll have a new project next Waste Not Wednesday.